Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the gym. It is your guy, Boulanger. Up next, predicting the postseason. Let's talk. Well, it is week 18, and there's a lot of games this weekend that has playoff implications. And so you could basically say, for some teams, it's already the postseason. So what I want to do with this particular video is predict what the competition is going to do. So let's start with the AFC North game, Baltimore versus the Browns, played today. And I believe that the Baltimore Ravens will win this game. And I think they'll win it by at least 17 points. I think the game will be a little tight early, not necessarily because we're doing anything wrong. I think that the Browns will absolutely come out and be competitive. I think that the Baltimore Ravens will go down and score on their first drive, field goal on the second drive, and our defense will snuff out Cleveland, holding them to only 3 points in the first quarter, meaning it's 10-3 after the first quarter. Now, I would like it to be much more than that so we can get our players off the field early, but I think that's going to be the score. I think in the second quarter, I think we unlock. And then I think we put up another 14 points in the second quarter, being up 24 to probably 10. That's a sizable lead going into the half. I think after halftime, we put up another touchdown, taking us 31-10, and the game is essentially over. I think in this game in particular, I think Lamar Jackson has about 200 yards passing, another 50 on the ground. Derrick Henry has about 80 yards rushing and a rushing touchdown. I think Lamar has probably 3 touchdowns total, 2 in the air, 1 on the ground, or maybe he just has 3 in the air. But I think this game is going to be something like 31-10 midway through the third, and we can cruise into the fourth quarter with our second unit and get this game home and claim the AFC North. I think the follow-up game won't be a game where Pittsburgh is going to play all of their starters, only because they would have seen us handle our business in the first game, and I think it will open the door for Cincinnati to compete and win in that second game. Now, if something crazy were to happen in the first game, something unforeseen, I think it does open the door for Pittsburgh to play their starters. And if Pittsburgh play all of their starters and come out and try to prove a point, I think Pittsburgh takes the game. But if things are laid out like I believe they will, Cincinnati wins this game, putting on a final game offensive performance. I think Joe Burrow probably hits the 300-yard mark. I think they rush for a total of about 130, and I think they put up about 32 points, and they beat Pittsburgh. But again, if Baltimore wins the first game, Pittsburgh will not come out guns blazing. I think they pull most of their starters and treat this week like a bye week. Okay? I think in Sunday's games, the only real games that matter on Sunday in the AFC is the Denver versus Kansas City game. Now, Denver is a big favorite because Kansas City is going to sit most of their starters. I think Chris Jones will play in this game simply because he has $1 million on the line if he gets a sack. So he could play and cause some havoc, especially since they have the bye week off, and then it'll be another whole week before they actually get on the field. So he'll have plenty of time to recover. But I think the long and short of it is if Denver comes and they perform like they performed most of this season, they should get a close win. Not even a big win. They should get a close win, probably something like 24-20. And they shut the door on Cincinnati, sending them home for the season. So as it pertains to the AFC, I think Baltimore wins the first game. If Baltimore wins the first game on Saturday, I think Pittsburgh pulls most of their starters. Cincinnati wins their second game. But on Sunday, Denver beats the Chiefs, who are sitting their starters, closing the door on Cincinnati. Okay? And so that is how I see the AFC playing out. So it'll be Chiefs 1, Bills 2, Ravens 3, Houston 4. I think if Pittsburgh loses and the Chargers win, I think they flip spots 5 and 6. So I think Chargers move up to 5, Pittsburgh falls to 6, Denver is in at 7. I think that's how the AFC will lay out. So when we think about the NFC, I think there's only 2 games that matter unless I'm missing one. And so that's Tampa versus the Saints. I think the Saints are ready for the offseason, man. They've had a lot of injury, a lot of turnover, and they're in good draft position. So there's no way they're going to try and really win this game. They'll be competitive, but I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win this game and they clinch the playoff spot, closing the door on Atlanta, who will beat Carolina. I think when you look at the biggest game of the weekend as it pertains to playoff implications, Detroit versus Minnesota, it's a big time matchup, two 14-win teams, and I think that Minnesota wins this game. That's not me saying I am all in on Sam Darnold. That's just me saying when you look at the team as a whole, I think Minnesota is still more complete versus the injury-plagued Detroit Lions team. I think that because Detroit plays in a dome, it's going to have a very similar field surface. It's going to have a very similar temperature component, and I think that the track will be just as fast. And so I think that with whatever Detroit has left in their secondary, they're going to have to figure out how to stop Jefferson. Well, that allows Addison and the rest of the guys to get off just like they did last week. And Minnesota is still playing really good defense. And so I think they do enough and get out of Detroit with a close win. I'm going to say it's going to be something like 30-27. Minnesota claims the number 1 seed in the NFC, and Detroit falls to the 5th seed. So that's how I see this weekend playing out. And we'll be ready for the wild card weekend, man. So let me know, man, what you guys think, how you guys see it playing out, and or who you guys would like to see the Baltimore Ravens take on in the first round. I'm your guy, Boulanger. This is the GM, and I'm out.